Good morning, Mr. Kevin.
Good morning, Mansoor. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing?
Good.
Let's wait for,
good.
I think like 3 minutes. I don't know why others are not joining. Let's give them like 3 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Luca.
Good morning, Mr. Mansoor. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Very well.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to get started in 2 minutes. We're going to see whether any other person joins. If they don't, we can continue. Good morning, Mr. John. Mr. John, can you hear me? Okay, let's get started right now. So, yes, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this. So, today we are having our 7th session, meaning after today's session, we shall be left with 3 more sessions. Yeah, so by Wednesday, our last day will be Wednesday in case we don't miss any day. Yeah, so ensure that everything we cover, you you're at least comfortable with all that we've covered, or you keep on asking questions where you're not comfortable, so that we can easily help you. Anyone can help you, whether me or any other person that understood the concept. Yeah, so today we're going to look at resources and roles. And so for resources, we're going to look at what do resources mean, the types of resources, then how do you define and assign resources in Primavera. Then when it comes to roles, we're going to look at what roles are and how can you now assign roles in Primavera. Yeah, so if I could hear from you, what do you take, okay, what do you understand by resources, or what do you take as a resource on a project? Let's start with Mr. John. What do you call a resource on a project? Okay. Your mic is not working. If you're using a phone, you can just tap on the mic button, then you choose call over cellular or call over internet. But I can see your mic is on, just muted. Anyway, you've sent us money as the example of resource. Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, let's hear from Mr. Kevin. What do you take as a resource on a project?
I think resource is what facilitates you to do work. So we have physical resources, which are people, and then non-physical resources like equipment.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Then Mr. Luca, what do you take as a resource on your project?
Okay, no, a resource is anything that is necessary for the project to be executed and completed. So you might have a physical resource, you have a human capital resource, and others.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, then from Mr. Bright, he has sent a message saying a resource from example. Okay, for example, human and material means any item or personnel that help or aid in implementation of any project. Yeah, that's right. All the answers are correct. So here, it's okay by definition, but as long as you understand it, even if you don't care about that definition, is anything used to complete an activity. And so mostly there are two like big categories of resources. You can have human resources, then the non-human resources. Then the human resources are the people that you use, skilled in different fields that you use on while you're implementing the project. Then the non-human resources, there you can have like equipment, then you can have materials. Yeah, so those are resources. Then now when you go to Primavera, this is the way it categorized the resources, or what we can call the resource types. Yeah, so we've looked at the two big categories, that is human and non-human. Then for Primavera, it goes ahead to also distinguish between the non-human resources. Yeah, so we have the first one, it is labor. Those are the people that you employ on a project. And they are measured in like units of time. Like someone works 8 hours per day, that's how you measure that particular resource. That is the labor, they are providing you with labor. Then generally, they can be used between activities and projects. So you can find that you can define a particular personnel which is present for your project. For example, you have a civil engineer, but he's working on 2 projects in your organization. Yeah, or you can find that you have, okay, I can give also project manager can be the resource, but you can see that almost on every activity is part, even if it's not going to do the 100% of the activity, but it's part. So you can use the labor between different activities or projects. Then we're going to look at the how you record them in when it comes to units. Yeah, so you record, okay, when it comes to rates or charges. So you record like charge per hour. For example, someone is earning maybe $50 per hour. That's how you can record their units. That's how you can record their rates in terms of charges. Then after labor, we have the non-labor. So non-labor is now the equipment. So also it is measured in units of time. Like I've used the bulldozer 5 hours. Oh, I'm going to use it 2 hours per day. Then also when it comes to terms of charging, in case you're hiring it, so you'll be charged according to either day or hour. Yeah, that's when you're hiring it. So now you may ask, what if I buy it into the organization? Yeah, so when you buy it into the organization, it means that it is available for all the projects. But when it comes to accountability for your project, now just imagine you're a road construction project, you're a road construction company, and now you bought like 2 graders, but they're working on different roads. So you're not going to get the cost of 1 grader, maybe those are like 5 billions, and you add them onto the cost of this particular project. Because it's going to work, but it's going also to work on other projects. So you have to find a way of seeing, what if I was hiring it, then how many hours has it worked? So that's a better way of understanding how much it has costed you on that particular project and getting its total price and adding to the the cost of the entire project. Yeah, so that is the non-human labor. Then now we have material. Yeah, so these are sometimes called consumables, but that's what you use as you constructing something. For example, you can use sand, aggregates, coarse aggregates and fine aggregates, yeah, dust. And then for them, they are measured in units other than time. Yeah, you may find that you have cement and you want it to be measured in bags, or you may want it to be measured in kilograms according to what you're working on. Then, for example, you can say that this particular material costs us $15 per square feet. Yeah, or you can say that these bricks cost us like 60,000 per square meter, like that. So that's how you can measure the material resource. Then we have roles. So now the roles are like the job titles or skills that are possessed by different people onto the project. Yeah, so you have, for example, you have a mechanical engineer, you have a civil engineer, you have an electrical engineer, a surveyor, a software developer. So those are roles. Then when it comes to resources, there you mention the person. But when it comes to the role, yeah, so you can say Seton Mansour is a resource, but is maybe an electrical engineer on our project. And so that's the difference between the two. The resources, then the roles. The roles are like the job titles or the skills possessed by that particular person. Or you can take them as responsibilities, something closer to that. Then they represent a type of resource with a certain level of proficiency rather than a specific individual. So we're going to see as we are assigning the roles to different resources, yeah, you need to define that this is a mechanical engineer, but what is the level of proficiency? What is his level of proficiency? Is he a master? Is he an expert? Or like intermediate? Like you have to define their proficiency or their experience, because that may affect the way you okay, you pay them, because you may find that the way you pay an expert is not the same way you pay someone who's just an intermediate. Yeah. Then roles can be assigned to specific resources to further identify that resources skills. Yeah. So we're going to see it how it is done in Primavera.
Hello, question.
Yes.
Can we assign those as skills and skills?
Pardon?
Can we assign those as skills, semi-skills, and skills? Hierarchy, or it should be in line with the profession of the person?
Maybe if you would type the question into the chat, I can hear the first words, but I can't hear the last word. Yeah, so as we're waiting for him to send a question, is there any other one with a question? Or any addition or any suggestion, anything. Can be not a question, but you may just want to add. Okay, so okay, just can we assign roles as skilled, semi-skilled, and unskilled? No, it's okay, it's just a level proficiency. So the skilled, semi-skilled, and unskilled, that can be like on labor, and you want to say that this person is skilled or unskilled. But when you go to Primavera, it just uses different keywords. It doesn't use skilled or unskilled. Maybe from those keywords, you'll find one that is kind of related to this. Yeah, because we have level of proficiency from master, expert, then going downward. So you may find that unskilled is the one which is totally down. And maybe that can cover up for you. So right now, let's see how. Yeah, so let me hope you can see Primavera now, the screen for Primavera instead of the PowerPoint. Okay, yeah, so now we're going to first look at resources, how you define resources, then we go on to how you define roles. Yeah, so resources, they can be available to the entire enterprise. Yeah, so like I told you as we are starting, in order for you to know where to go to instead of project or enterprise, is that you just think about, can this be available on the enterprise level? Yeah, so if like resources are supposed to be available for the entire enterprise level, you'll find them under enterprise. If something is found under project, for example, activities, WBS, there just know that you always have to first to come to project. That's where you find a particular item. Yeah, so resources can be available for, okay, I don't see in the screen. Let me share again. What about now? Can you all see this screen for Primavera? Anyone
I
can
can see it.
unmute? Okay. Mr. Bright, hope you can see it now. I don't know, maybe check your side because everyone is seeing it. Okay, I think maybe it is just loading on your side. So we're going to find resources under enterprise. Then you come to resources, or you can find them under this. Yeah, so I'm going to go enterprise resources. Then now it's going to bring me, it's called like a resources dictionary. And so these are all the resources, but these ones are available for the entire enterprise. Remember when we are installing the software, we included sample data. So that's why we can see now the resources that are available for other projects. In order for you to see resources that are available for only the current project, just click on this display, then you come to filter by, then instead of all resources, you can say current projects resources. So according to the project that I've opened, these are the current resources which are there. So let me go and I open the project that we're working on. So let me just look for that infra project, this, and I open it. Yeah, so I'm going to come to enterprise. Enterprise resources. Then now you can see that I don't have any resources. That is in case I came and said filter by current project resources. But if I say all active resources, to bring them. So I'm going to go to filter by current project resources. And now I don't have any resources. So I'm going to add new resources. So you can see before we add, you can see the different columns which are there. We have the resource ID, that will be the ID to identify the resources. Then you type in the resource name. Then you have to give it a type, then the unit of measure, then the primary role and the default units per time. So in case we've not yet defined the roles, we're going to first jump this one of role. Then we shall define the roles, then assign the roles to that particular resource. So I can click on this to add the resource. So it will tell me that in order to add a resource, it has to display all the available resources. Yeah, so let me cross this and I do it from here. So like the way we've been dealing with EPS, OBS and everything, you just use a tree structure for this. So it is possible for you to select all of them and maybe delete them because you don't need to see them. But for this case, I'm just going to add another like tree branch onto the structure so that I start calling it our infrastructure name. So I can add it from here. Then I will just outdate. So I'm going to leave it to R1. Then I call it so I'm not yet adding a resource. It's like I'm going to add them under a tree. So I need to add the group name. So our project is called infra project. That is the ID. So that's why I'm calling it infra resources. I can click on next. Then you choose what type of resource is it. So for this case, you can just leave the defaults. You click on finish because we're going to outdate this. Yeah, until it comes back now to this. So now I need to add a resource. So I'm going to add, okay, different people that I have. Remember we said resources are like individuals. Okay, we can have the human and non-human resources. So I'm going to first add the labor resources. So I'm going to say, I can also create a group and I call it labor resources. Leave it to labor, then I add another resource. So under labor resources, we can have maybe, so now I'm going to put the names of individuals. I add another one. Yeah, you can just come to the group, then right click and say add. But in case it is not in the right position, you can outdate and indate with these arrows. So I'm going to add another one, call him add. Now like this, if you made a mistake, just use that. Then you can say another one. I'm going to stop on that. Yeah, so I need to outdate this. So those are the labor resources that I have. Now, what if I want to add the equipment? I can also add a group. Say add, then I call it equipment. Then I need to change the type to non-labor. Then I need to outdate this because it's going to be a group. So you can see different icons. This is for the people, then this is for equipment, then the one for material will look like this. So we need to add equipment resources, maybe having a grader. Then we may be having maybe a bulldozer. Yeah, and others. So we're going to add also material. So I'm going to come to, even if I just come to this, click add, then I'll just change. So I'm going to call this group materials. Need to change this to material. Then I outdate up to there. Then I add the different materials that I have. Maybe it is sand. Okay, cement. Yeah, like that. So let me delete these other ones. Okay, so in case, okay, whenever I don't minimize, I just want hours to outstand starts from here. Yeah, this. So these are the resources that we have, and we've grouped them into different groups, like labor resources. Then we have different people. Then we have equipment, and we have different equipments. Then we have material, and we have different materials. So now let's look at the details and how you can add the units and everything. So from here, I'm going to start with the labor resources. We have Mr. Michael. Then under the details, you can add different details like employee ID in case they have an ID. Then the office phone, the email address, all those other ones. But now we're interested in first check the details and ensure that it is labor. Yeah, or you can change from here. It is the same thing as coming and change from here. So there's labor. Then in case it's not labor, non-labor, just change from here. Then another thing, now click on unit of measure, this. Yeah, so when it is labor, it will not have unit of measure because unit of measure, we said for labor, it is typically time. So we add it from this other side here. But when it comes to like material, we shall be able to change the unit of measure. Yeah, so still here. So after checking here that everything is okay, then the currency you can also change as long as you added the currency that you want to use, but I'm going to leave it to dollars, this. Yeah, so in case you allow overtime, you can also do check this. Yeah, and then you add the overtime factor. So that will be like a multiplier in case someone works overtime. So if the normal pay per hour is like 10,000, okay, $10 per hour. And when they work overtime, they are going to earn 15. So now that means the factor is 1.5. So it's the one that you add here. So I'm going to uncheck that. Then I come to units and prices. Yeah, so this will indicate, let me ensure that this is the labor that I'm working on. Okay. So this will indicate that effective date, like from which date that unit of measure is effective. So you may decide that for my project is going to take a full year. For the first month, I pay workers, okay, high, maybe they earn 10,000 per hour. But in the second month or the second half of the year, their payment drops down or increases. That's what it means, because you can add another one, like different dates here. So we can say for the first month, they are going to be working 8 hours per day, or they are going to work 10 hours per day. Because you may want the project first move very fast. Then later on, they can now start working either 8 hours per day or 6. Yeah, then the standard rate, that is how much they are going to earn per hour. So I'm going to use 15,000 UGX. Our entire project, we set it to use UGX. That's why now here it's not in dollars. So now we can say after this, that is after that date, like from 1st January 2021, they are working 10 hours per day and they are paid this. But from the second half of the year, that is 7th July, you can change this date by going to the calendar and change. Yeah, you can say that now here they are only working 6 days per hour and we're giving them 10,000. Yes, like that. So, yeah, so he's asking for, Mr. John is asking, can it account for inflation? No, not really. Because now it is hard to know the rate of inflation. Yeah, there is a part of budgeting in Primavera. We shall see maybe that's where you can be able to do inflation, but in most cases, these softwares can't account for inflation rate, because you may forget to put the inflation rate, or you may find that maybe it is basing on your location and it can hardly find the data about the inflation. So here it is not accounting for inflation. We shall just see in budgeting when we reach on budgeting and see whether there is a way you can account for inflation. Yeah, so that's how you can add the units and prices. That is for that particular labor. So you do the same thing to others. So here I'm just going to say 15,000, and this one also like maybe 20. Yeah, like that. Just ensure that in detail it is labor. So any other question before we move on to equipment? You can also change the calendar, but like you can also change the calendar from the one that is being used by enterprise to a particular resource calendar. That is in case you created one for particular resources. Yeah. No, if you set a calendar, it's asking whether it affects the entire project calendar. If you set a calendar from here, that calendar will be assigned to that particular resource. So it means that you have to first go to calendars create a calendar for that particular resource or for specific resources. You can say engineering calendar resource or engineering calendar, engineer's calendar. And you know that the engineers are following that particular calendar. So when you come and change from here, it doesn't affect the calendar for the entire enterprise or the entire project. It only goes to the resource calendar. You can see a select resource calendar. So that is for a particular resource, not for the entire organization. Yeah, so I hope the questions are done. So now we're moving to equipment. Yeah, so we come to the bulldozer. You can see under details, we have, it is non-labor. Yeah, then also we don't need to change the unit of measure. Yeah, we only need to change the units and prices. So there is actually also on labor, but let me explain it from here. There's this column indicates the maximum units per time. Maximum units means that what they can work per day, okay, per time unit, now like a day. The maximum it can be available, like labor, is 8 hours according to the calendar, 8 hours per day. That's the maximum unit. But in case the maximum unit is different, you can also adjust in case it is different from the enterprise calendar, maybe maximum unit as prescribed, you can also change it. Okay, Mr. Bry is asking if you're dealing with resources, the first thing is assigning a resource calendar. Okay, what could be the first thing in case the resources are following a different calendar from the enterprise calendar is you create that calendar so that when you come to assign, you are able to see that particular calendar. Yeah, so let me first continue here, then I'll look into more questions. Yeah, so this I'm leaving it to, I'm just going to leave it to 8 hours per day. Like it can be available maximum 8 hours per day because even the people that are working are only working up to 8 hours per day. Then the standard rate is now how much would you be charged, or how much are you being charged per hour to use that particular, like a bulldozer? Maybe they are charging you, let's say 20,000, depends. Let me just say 20,000. Yeah, so that's how you can deal with the equipment like the non-labor resource. You just have to assign how much you're being charged per hour. Yeah, so in case you also have different like after this particular date, now they charge me this, you can input all of them. Yeah. Like I said, you can use maybe the finance department to help you calculate the rate of depreciation for a particular equipment that you buy, not hiring, so that you're able to come up with how much would it cost you per hour, so that it is what you include here. Yeah. So we're going to do the same thing here. So this maybe it is 30,000. Then now we're going to move on to the materials. Yeah, so material resources, for them, they are dealt with in a different way. Because when you go to details, ensure that you under material, then now you change the unit of measure. So this is cement. So it depends, how do you want to calculate it? Is it like tons? Is it a lump sum? Is it a cubic yards? Is it a linear feet? So let's search for bags and see if it is existing. So it is not there. If it is not there, let me see if we can add it. You can't add it. So you have to select on these ones that are existing. Yeah, so I'm going to just leave it to that, to each. Then I can go ahead to the units and prices, then you put the standard rate. So the standard rate is going to depend on what you've selected, here under the details here. Let me say, okay, let's say tons. We're using tons. So you come to units and prices, then now you're going to put the price per ton. Yeah, since cement is measured in bags, but okay, it's kilograms, meaning you can calculate the cost per ton. Even if the cost is per bag, you can get how many kilograms are in a bag. Then you get to know how much is a kilogram. Then now you multiply by 1,000 to get the cost per ton. Yeah, so I'm just going to put a random figure like 200,000, like that. So that's how you deal with the different resources. Now, when it comes to sand, you may decide to measure it in like maybe cubic yards or linear feet. Yeah, like that. So later on, we shall see how you can do custom fields so that you can also be able to enter like bags and you're able to select them from here. Yeah, but right now I'm just going to go with what is existing there. Then I come and define the units and prices. So here I'm just going to put like maybe 3,000. Yeah, that's how you deal with resources. So any question? Do we have any question about that, about the resources? We've just defined. Yes.
My question is, what is the difference between this list of resources and the OBS? Do you first write these resources, then from the OBS you can select these resources?
What is the difference between which list?
This list of resources and the OBS. Yes. Under the OBS, can you first make this list, then you go to the OBS, from the OBS you select names.
Oh, okay. Now the OBS is okay, it's just like an organization breakdown structure. Okay, an organization chart. And for it stops at like the level of projects, doesn't reach into the detail of projects. This is what I mean. Like in an organization structure, even if you go now like in your organization and you check on the organization structure, they will not be detailing the way we're detailing here. They will just say we have the managing director. Then from the managing director, now you go to different departments of the EPS and who the lead is. Like now we have the Department of Construction and Engineering. So they may call him lead construction and engineering. Then you have another department. So they may say head of department surveying. Then we have the lead or the head of department IT, like that. So when they reach on they just stop on the EPS level. As you can see, the EPS shows how the projects or programs are organized in your organization. It doesn't even include the project name. It only includes like the departments that you have. So the OBS corresponds with the EPS, but resources are now going further to the project, to one project, and now we're detailing who is doing what, the people we have, the non-skilled labor we have, the skilled labor, the material, and the equipment. Let me hope it is a bit clear.
Yeah, I get it. Thanks.
Yeah, welcome. Someone's asking example on unit factor. I've not got your question. Maybe it was under the factor we had was for overtime. It was overtime factor. And I gave an example of in case someone works overtime, are you going to double their like I doubling their payment. So there you can put like 2.0. So that is the overtime factor. Now that means in case they work overtime and they have worked more than 8 hours per day, per hour, you're going to pay them twice as the way you would have paid them for the normal payment. If they are being paid 15,000 per hour on the standard rate, when they work overtime, you're going to be paying them like 30,000. Yeah. Let me hope it is what you meant. I don't know about the unit factor that we're talking about. So, okay. So now we're going to look at how do you assign, okay, let's first look at how do you also now define roles. Then we shall end with activities. How do you assign resources to activities and how do you assign roles to activities? So now we're going to look at roles. So we have our resources, then now we have to define roles. Yeah, you can do it the other way around. You can start with the roles, then you come with you end up with like the resources, because now you see that our resources for now, when it comes to roles, they are empty. So they are not assigned any role as these ones here. Yeah, so we head over to enterprise roles. Then you open that, or you can come here. So when you come to this site, roles is not there. So just click on this, add or remove buttons, then you check roles. This, so it will be added here so that you can click on it, then open like that. So I'm going to pass here, enterprise roles. Yeah, so this is displaying all roles. If I try to filter by current project roles, you're going to see that I don't have any roles for the current project. So I need to add the roles. For the roles, we need to add actually very many things. You need to add the role ID, then the role name, then the responsibilities. Then we have the prices and limits. So let's add. Click on add. Then in order for you to add, needs to first list all the roles. So we do the same thing of indenting. So I'm going to leave the ID there. Then I say, this is infra roles. Yeah, then okay, since this is a tree, let's first add, then we're going to go into details, the way we've done for resources. So I'm going to say I have my engineers. Then I have surveyors. I need to indent. I'm going to indent. So I have surveyors. Then I have managers. Yeah, so I need to indent this. So under the engineer role, okay, we here. Okay, it would have been, you can move up. Let me just add, I'll move up. So now I'm listing the engineers that I have. I have a civil engineer. Then I have a mechanical engineer. Then I also have an electrical engineer. So these ones need to go under engineers. Put it. Yeah, like that. You need to put them under engineers. I need first like this. Yeah, like that. We say you have engineers, these ones that need to be updated. Yes, like that. Under engineers, we have 3. Yeah, we have mechanical, electrical, and civil. So under managers, we have, you can have a project manager. Then you may be having a construction manager. Yeah, so these ones belong under managers. So okay, now we go to surveying. So we may have the chief surveyor. Let me add another, and then we're going to organize. Yeah, so let's go up. Oh, okay. Let me just look for our project, but let me just add from here. Oh, in order for it not to disturb you, just add on the top, like here. Then it will add it below, then you push it up. Like this is a chief surveyor. Okay, it's already there. Let me just use that one. This, delete it. Yeah, let's just have that one so that we don't waste a lot of time. Yeah, so this is our project. Let's see if we've indented well. We have surveyors, then you have engineers, then managers. So we need to indent this. Yeah, so this is our project. Then we have surveyors, engineers, then managers. So under surveyors, we have chief surveyor, under engineers, we have mechanical, civil, electrical. Then under managers, we have a project manager and construction manager. So now let's put details. Let's start with surveyors. So here, since we on the tree, we interested in the last part, like you can leave around the groups, like here engineers. Yeah, so we're just going to come to surveyors, then we come under chief surveyor. Then under down here, you have the general information, then you have resources, then you have prices, then you have limits. Yeah, so we're going to first look at general. That is a resource ID and the role name, which you've already filled up here. So under responsibilities, just click on modify, then you start typing that a surveyor is responsible for. Then now you add the different responsibilities they have. Maybe collecting data, collecting GIS data, maybe checking levels. Okay, it can be setting out checking levels. Yeah, then press OK. So you can use the text editor in any way you want, like bulleting, doing what? Yeah, the way you do in Microsoft Word. Click OK. Then after that, now we have resources. So this is where you assign which resource can be assigned to that particular role. You can assign more than one resource, like a chief surveyor. Just click on assign, then it's going to bring for you. Let's go to filter by current projects resources. Okay, I think it has not yet just updated. Let me just, I'm going to search. We had Mr. Yeah, you can see they are here. We had Mr. Michael, Mr. Tom, then we had also others that we called engineer. Yeah, maybe we shall go and add more, but this is for demo, I can use any. So I can search for Mr. Michael, then I assign, or you just double click, or I can add another and then I assign. So this particular role of chief surveyor, but here doesn't make sense to have two chief surveyors, so I'm going to remove one. Yeah, so under chief surveyor, these are the resources that we have that have occupied that particular role or responsibility. Then here is their name, then here is their proficiency level. So I think Mr. Bright, where you had a question, maybe now you can select from here because there is master, expert, then there is skilled, proficient, then inexperienced. So inexperienced can act as unskilled. Then proficient is kind of like someone is like intermediate, then skilled, then now you go to expert, then master. Master is like on top, someone has had like 20 or 40 years of experience. So we can leave it to skilled. Then only check primary role if being a chief surveyor is their primary role. Remember, going to go to other roles, and one resource can have like two roles. Like you find a person is the chief surveyor, but also doing the surveying work, or also being a project manager somehow, somewhere. So if being a chief surveyor is their primary role, check this. If not, then uncheck it. So I'm going to leave it checked. Yeah, then we go to another one. We go now to engineers, then I come to mechanical engineer. We said first define here their responsibility. Yeah, you can say they are what? Mechanical engineers. And you can say mechanical engineers are responsible for mechanical drawings, or you can just say map drawings, or plumbing, also plumbing drawings, design and drawings. It is maybe HVAC. Then save that. Then come to resource. Come here and search for the particular resource that you have that can occupy that particular role. And change to all resources. It's not displaying, I think, because it just needs to refresh because these resources are full. We've put them on their current project. So they are like that, change their proficiency. Yeah, so now I'm going to show you another thing. It's about prices and limits. So for prices, you can decide to use the other standard rate. Okay, since now we are in roles, you can say that a person occupying this role is going to be paid this amount. For example, let me give you an example. You may be a civil engineer and you're on a project and you're earning a particular amount of money doing the civil engineering work. But now a certain role comes, like being a resident engineer. So you're going to get maybe, should we say, another salary, or your salary is going to upgrade according to the role that you've occupied. So in case it is different from the other one that you included the other side, then you can change it from here, or you can leave it blank. So it will go with the cost that is being charged from the resource. Remember, when we are defining resource, we also defined how much they are earning. Yeah, let me hope that is clear. So that's why you can say calculate costs from units. This will mean that you calculate from the other units that we included under the resources. That's what it will mean. Then limits. Now the limits are like the way you can create a resource calendar. You can say from 1st January 2021, they should be available for 10 hours per day. Then after a particular date, now they can work 6 hours per day, like that. So that's how you go about it. Or, okay, this is still there, but I think it is okay. I can close. We're going to open it again and show you something. When you come to edit, then you go to user preferences. Then now you come to our resource analysis. Yeah, there is this option, display the role limit based on custom role limit or calculate primary resource limit. So in case you want the role to be overtaken by the settings we've done with the resource, just come and change from custom role limit to calculated primary resource limit and click close. So when now you go back to like the roles, let's go back to roles. We check under limits. So now that means these particular limits, you don't need to define them again. They will just speak from the ones we've used from the resources. The limits we put there, the maximum units that are available that we set from the resources dialog, or when we are doing that particular resource. Yeah, like that. That's how you assign roles to different resources. Do you have any question before we move on to activities? Because now we're going to move on to activities and we see how do you now say that this particular resource is available for this particular kind of activity. Okay, if there is no question, then we can move on. So I'm going to close this dialog. Then now you can see that when you open resources and you go to current project resources, there are no resources because the activities we have, they have not been assigned any resource. So it can detect any resource which is available. Yeah, so that's what we're going to work on right now. Yeah, so this is my project. And these are the activities that we had. We had sample activities. So in order for you to assign resources to a particular activity, click on the activity, then I will change from the activity details here and you come to resources tab. If you don't see it, right click, go to customize activity details and you add all of them, or the one for resource may not be part. Maybe if this is this side, that when you come and look for it, you can't see it. Right click, go to customize activity details, and now you add it. Say apply. Okay, then it will appear. In case you want to change its position, Yeah, you can right click, go back here, then you move it like up. Yeah, that's why I'm spending time there, because if you don't have it, you're not going to be able to do anything further. So you need to be sure that resources tab is there and the activity details. So click on the activity, then now you come under resources. So you're going to see that you have 3 options. You can add a resource, or you can add a role, or you can assign by role. Those are the 3 options you have. When you add a resource, it's just going to go to your resources, then you pick a particular person that you have. I can say filter by your active resources. Then I search for that particular resource. Okay, Mr. Bright, in case you don't have any question, you can mute your mic and this accordingly. So you can now search a particular resource that you have, then click on assign like that, or select another and also assign. So that is the first one. That is the first way of adding a particular resource. In case you want to remove, click it, then you remove. That will be removed. So another option is you add a role. So this can come like you have an organization, or you're scheduling, doing the schedule. You know that this particular activity will require a project manager, or will require a bridge engineer, because it is bridge designing, but you're not yet sure about the bridge engineer is going to come. So there, just add a role, get the activity, add a role, then you select which role, like which role is responsible for, or will be required to do that particular activity. Select the role, then click on assign. Yeah, so this time around it is a role, then the other one was a resource. Yeah, the difference is just that you don't have someone's name. That is like the difference. And also this is, it is flexible, because when you move on later on and you get someone, add them to the resource, then assign them to that particular role. So everything will be like added, how much they are earning and everything will be calculated in the background for you. Then this one is for assign by role. This will only help you. It is also like it is also like the other one of add role, but now this one is you are assigning. It will only bring like the top. Okay, when you look at the tree, it will not go into details of okay, let me just see. It will just bring a different like tree, but in most cases it is similar to this of add role, because it will also just list the roles. It will just list the roles, but the difference is this: when you say add role, it is going to add it to the activity directly. Like I'm going to say, we have a civil engineer role responsible for that particular activity. But when you say assign by role, it's going to assign the resources by role. What it means that it's going to go through the resources, then now it picks the role. It's not going to assign directly. The way you get in the activity, then you assign the role directly into that. But it's going to go to like the resources, through the resources, then to the roles. Yeah, but you can use, what I would recommend is you use a resource. You use a resource. That is in case you don't overchanging the stuff. But in case you overchange in the staff, that's when now you can add a role. You can just add a role so that when someone joins the organization, you assign them a particular position, give them that particular role, then everything will be calculated into the project. So do we have any question on this? Can you remove them by just deleting? Yeah, so you do the same thing to other activities. In case I want to add a resource, click the activity, then you can go to all resources, then you search the resource that you want to assign. Like that. So do you have any question? I can just do a recap. Okay, so we've covered resources, defining resources and how do you assign them. So resources are available for the entire enterprise. That's why we come to enterprise, click on resources. Then now you start adding, or you can just come to filter by all resources, then formulate a tree around here, around the existing resources. How do you formulate? Just add one, then you use these arrows to indent. So from there, you have 3 types of resources in Primavera. You have the labor, then you have the non-labor. Yeah, you have the labor, that is the people that are going to work in the organization. Then you have the non-labor, and that is the equipment that you're going to use on that particular project. Then you have materials. Those are the consumables that are going to be used in the execution of the work. Then for labor, there are different things that you can add on labor. That is, go to details, ensure that you are under labor. Then you can change the calendar. That is in case there's a different calendar for that particular resource. Then you go to units and prices, add the maximum units and which that resource is available or it should be able to provide per day. If it is throughout the entire project, just put the effective date can be like the start date of the project. Then you add the maximum units, that is like how many hours per day. Then now you add the standard rate, how much are they earning per hour. So if you may say, for me, my workers, we pay them per month. So there you can get a calculator and you get to know this one is getting maybe 6 million per month. So how many hours are being worked in a month? So if every week that is 8 like times 5, that is 40 hours, then times 4, that is like 160. So get 60 million divided by 160 so that you get the rate per hour. Yeah, because that is the better way of measurement. If you go to measure per day, there are some days where they are not going to work full time. And that's why it is better you input standard rate per hour. Then that is for labor. For non-labor, do the same thing, go to details. Okay, Mr. Kevin, you have a question?
Yeah, where is the tab for skilled? I'm saying it's like it automatically assigns. Where do you assign that?
For resources, that is for roles.
Yeah. Okay.
It is under roles.
Okay.
Yeah. So equipment, do the same thing, the maximum unit per day, then the standard rate, how much are you being charged per hour for that particular equipment. Then do the same thing for materials, but for materials, you have to change, when you go to details, you have to change the unit of measure. And you find one that fits. Let's see here. Okay, let me see. Okay, you can just use from the ones that are existing. That is for the material. Yeah, then when you're done, now you go to roles, enterprise roles. Then you define the roles, the way you do the tree structure of EPS and everything, but we're going to look at the details and how you can handle the details. Maybe this, click on general, click on modify, then you enter their role, their responsibilities in that particular role. Then go to resources. Then now you add a resource for that particular role. So click on assign, select any resource that you have, select it. Then after that, this is where you will find the proficiency that Mr. Kevin was asking about. So here we adding that Engineer Moses is a civil engineer on the project, and this is his level of experience. Either is a master, and that is his primary role. Yeah, so he's asking about the bugs. Okay, that one, the unit of measure is not, the bugs is not available. But during the last session, we're going to cover what they call custom, like custom inputs, where you can customize custom fields. They are called custom fields. Yeah, so it will be from there, and we see whether we shall be able to add bugs on the unit of measure. But in case it is not there, you can just use tons. In case bugs are not present, you can just use tons. When you come to details, it's under unit of measure here. Then now you can use tons in case bugs is not like available. Yeah. I'll find out whether we can customize and we add more fields here under unit of measure. Then I'll come and show it to you. Okay. Yeah, then after that, you can now open activities and you start assigning. Either it's about you, whether you want to just assign resources or you want to assign roles. So, any question about today? So now let's talk about the assignment. I would like to know how many people have yet, okay, I've started on it. Because in most cases, yes.
I've not started, but I have the data. I was collecting the data first.
Mm.
Yeah. But I'm
Okay.
going to start on it.
But have you selected a project that you're going to use?
Yeah, I have that now. Yes, I now have that.
Okay. Then any other one that has already started? Mr. Bright, have you already started on it? Okay, that's good. Because now, okay, this is what can happen. Here, the concepts are very many. You may see them as like there are few that you try to remember. But in case you take long to start, it means that now we're left with 3 sessions. If you take long to start on it, you're going to start when we've covered a lot of things and you're just trying to remember. Now that means you're going to either rewatch the videos that we recorded, or we may not get even enough time to interact very well. But now if you start, so that during the sessions, we can use like the last 30 minutes and we go about where you stuck at. Yeah, that one will be better and easy. But if you wait until the end, you're going to miss out on certain things because you will not be remembering which concepts we really covered. Yeah, so it's better you start on it. Okay, so do you have any questions about any flash sessions? there are no questions. For today,
No question.
okay. For today, we're going to end here. So the next session will be about resource leveling. Who has ever heard about that? Because it will be better if you come when you know the background about that, like the theory behind resource leveling. Anyone has ever encountered it?
Yeah, I think I've heard of it from resource optimization.
Yeah, it's something closer to that. So anything you know about it?
I know resource leveling. There's two, resource leveling and resource tracking. Resource tracking is where resource leveling is where you add resources to the project so that it can be shortened lengthwise. And then tracking is where you tracking, I've forgotten that one.
Okay, then any other one about resource leveling? Okay, but resource leveling is where now you may realize that you've assigned resources to a project. Then if you follow that schedule that you put for your resources, you may find that it's going to take you like 3 months or 1 year to complete a project. But when you look keenly, you'll find that some resources have been overassigned, like a particular task. You find that you have, you have maybe a civil engineer, but you've assigned them to almost every task, every activity is appearing, every activity is featuring, every activity is featuring. Now that means you are over-exhausting. You kind of like over-exhausting him, or you've over-assigned a lot of tasks on him. And what will happen in reality, maybe health issues may arise and someone may not work. Like it's going to be effective here for the first month, but later on they are not going to be effective. Then another one can be where you see that one activity is having a number of resources, like it's just clearing, but now you've added a project manager, you've also added the assistant project manager, now you've added like 3 graders, you've added what, so that is like you are over assigning resources to one activity. So what will that cause? It will cause, if the resources are very many, some are going to be redundant. So you have like 3 people being assigned on one task, and one person can do that, but for you assigning 3, now that means you're going to spend more and the resources are even being underutilized. So resource leveling now comes in to adjust for those 2 cases to ensure that the resources are not underutilized and they are not being over-exhausted. So if you do resource leveling, what will happen is this. If you find that you have one task that is running from Monday to Friday, then there's also another task that is running from Monday to Wednesday. But now and they are running concurrently. They're all starting on Monday, another one ends on Friday, another one ends on Wednesday. So if you have a particular person that you've assigned to both tasks, like I'm the one being assigned to the task of Monday to Friday and also Monday to Wednesday. Now that means I will not be able to feature both of them unless otherwise, but I may not be able to be effective on both of them. So when you do resource leveling, the software automatically can detect and see this particular person is not going to be able to juggle between the 2 projects. So what it will do task splitting. It's going to split the task into 2. Either it's going to push one forward, like I'm going to first work on this one that is running from Monday to Wednesday, then now I can start on the other one that is running from, I'm supposed to run from Monday to Friday, then I just start on it on Thursday. So there it is doing task splitting. So that's how it can go about over exhausting of resources. Now, in case the resources are being underutilized, or you've assigned a lot of resources on one activity, when you do resource leveling, it is also going to remove some of the resources from that task. Then it assigns them somewhere where they are capable of doing. That is going to be detected through roles. Yeah, so with that, you'll find that you can shorten even the period of time of doing the project, or sometime when you do resource leveling, you can end up increasing on the time that you're using in case your previous schedule was over exhausting your resources. When you do resource leveling, it's going to add particular days on your entire project. Yeah, so that's what we shall look at. In case you get some time, just read about it. Just read about resource leveling, or some books call it resource smoothing or smoothing. So read about it so that when we come to do it, because we are in the software, it is just a simple setting. We just do and it automatically adjusts. But in order for you to understand what has happened after resource leveling, you need to have a stronger like a theory behind it. So if you get time, just read about that. Then when we come on Friday, we shall just see how to do that in Primavera. Then I'll add on showing you how you can create a custom views. Yeah. Then other than that, we're going to end here for today. Then we shall meet again on Friday. I'm going to share the recording by 2 p.m. I would have shared the link to the recording. So, okay, what do you prefer for me to share? Someone was calling about downloadable. If I share as a drive link, is it easy to download? Okay. I'm just going to share. It's going to be on Google Drive because I didn't record in the cloud. I'm just going to put it on Google Drive. Then those can download from there. Others can download from there. Yeah. Then next time I'll record in the cloud. Okay. Yeah. So have a good day. We meet on Friday.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mansoor.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Have a good day too.
Okay. You're welcome.